So then, our topic today is the 1190 massacre at Clifford's Tower. So I'm just going to set the context, give a bit of the background information to this before we actually look at what happened in 1190. So the massacre in 1190, it was one of the worst anti-Semitic massacres or attacks of the Middle Ages. It was obviously a really horrific event which took place in March of 1190. But we can look back at some of the causes or some of the reasons why York ended up having so many Jews living in the city to 1066, which was of course our last topic. So after 1066, after the Norman conquest, a number of Jews moved to England from France. And the main reason for this is the Normans embarked on this huge castle building programme. So we looked, didn't we, at the advances, at the recovery of York after the destruction of the 1060s and the harrowing of the north. Well, a lot of this was funded through, because they needed money, obviously, so they needed money and they had to borrow money. So Christians wouldn't lend money, Jews would, and that is what brought a number of Jews to York. The Normans wanted to expand. They knew they would need money to do this, so they knew that they would need Jews to lend the money to pay for the recovery of cities like York. But by 100 or so years later, there was growing hostility towards the Jewish population. There were disagreements over religion, which was one of the reasons. There were a number of accusations made against Jews, such as they were murdering children. And this was the time period of the Crusades. So many Christians were hostile towards all others of different religious persuasions. So there was hostility towards Jews for that reason. Religious intolerance, we would call it today. And also, many prominent, as we'll look at later, many prominent York citizens were in debt to the Jews. So there were financial motivations behind what happens in 1190 as well. So 1189, there's a new king, and Richard is coronated in London. So to commemorate this, a number of individuals go to the coronation from all over the country, and two prominent York Jewish citizens head down to London. One of them is called Benedict, one of them is called Jocius. So they head to London for the coronation. Now what happens is, following the coronation, there is a big banquet, and all non-Christians were asked to leave the banquet. Benedict leaves the banquet. As he leaves, a rumour goes round that Richard had ordered the massacre of all the Jews that were leaving. So a number of the Jews were attacked. One of them is Benedict, who was probably the wealthiest citizen in York, and he probably lived where I am at the moment, or on the street that I'm at the moment. I'm just on Coney Street in York. And as he left, he was murdered. And what followed was rioting, which broke out throughout many cities in England, not just York, Lincoln, Norwich, other prominent cities as well. But this is 1189, as we know the massacre happens in 1190.